But you say that that was kind of dehumanizing Azerbaijanis in Iran. Do you see a resemblance to the other events? For example, I know that in Rwanda in 1994, that was calling someone as cockroach was used by the certain groups to dehumanize other group for kind of justifying the mass killing. Is there anything like that, or it was a completely different incident?
Azerbaijanis are, like, as a human being, are culturally and linguistically and socially, from every aspect of life, they are massacred for 80 years. At schools, they are like school books. They are. You can see many parts of the history books which puts down Azerbaijani Turks. You go to media daily. They are using jokes and insults and always showing Azerbaijanis as backward, while they are not. They are. I will explain later that how active and how productive and how like they are. The Azerbaijanis are a very important part of Iranian society, but reality is one thing. But this is used daily. This is not the first time. But what was new for people to see that was that cartoon intentionally in those 10 ways of killing Azerbaijanis put some emphasis on stereotypes that are used daily by people. So that could, you said if it was intentional. I, as an independent thinker, I picked up the cartoon and read it thoroughly to make sure that it is not something that could be a misunderstanding. But then going through the whole article, you could see that it was done intentionally. So going back to the question if this was intentionally done to start dehumanizing and proceeding to go towards like massacre and those things, I think they have for the last 80 years, we can say like in 1946, after Azerbaijani region was declared an autonomous region, and following that, when the Iranian government attacked to take over it, there were like thousands of people were killed in very few days, 2-3 days.
And killed by whom?
By Iranian government and army. So that was. It has already happened to Azerbaijanis, and now following that, following 1946 takeover. So as we said, the language was banned and cultural events were banned, and many people were afraid even to mention that their ethnicity.
I'm gonna take a little bit different direction. I did some research and background, and there are lots of materials, especially government, state materials, telling that Azerbaijanis are well integrated into Iranian society. They're having the key positions in Iranian society, and they are the part of the culture, and they're the part of the society. Is it true?
Yes, I was saying that on one hand they are insulting Azerbaijanis, calling them donkeys and cockroaches. On the other hand, Azerbaijanis have very important positions in government, but they are very active in scientific communities all over the country. They are one of the most hard-working people that you can find in Iran, and no one can deny that. They are, but in the position of power, anyone who is in that position, they would not be able to even mention that they are Azerbaijani, or yet to bring attention to their ethnicity. As long as you assimilate and you pass and you do not defend your culture and your language and you speak Persian, you can have any position in Iranian power system. But rest of the people, no, they are discriminated. They are, if they do not speak the language fluently, they are made fun of. Even children are not immune to this, and it goes on and on. But the Azerbaijanis in the last decades, they have been the biggest contributors to Persian literature and culture. Dr. Barahani is an example of that. They have brought many new, literally, they have changed the Persian literature in the last couple of decades in Iran.
I'm just going to move to the next question. So, May 12th, this newsletter you just mentioned, Iranian State newsletter, which is scrutinized by the government, publicized this cartoon depicting Azerbaijanis as cockroaches. And 10 days later, May 22nd, demonstrations start in Tabriz and in other cities in northern Iran. My question is, what happened in between? There was like 10 days of time. What was the state reaction? Was there any government apology? Did they try to do anything in between those 10 days?
No, they did not. Usually, this goes back the way Azerbaijanis always ask for their rights and react to the situation. They usually try not to take a reactive position to be in that. But if they ask for their rights, they always write letters to government, they send requests, and they write petitions. This was done the same way. Mm-hmm. They initially, after seeing the cartoon, they wrote to the newspaper, they wrote to their local MPs, they wrote to Capitol, to the government, asking why this was done, and asking for explanation, and asking for apology or reaction from the government. Never asking for the arrest and imprisonment of the cartoonists or anything like that. Mm-hmm. There's no record of any request of repressing the freedom of speech, but asking for government to explain, since it was the government-owned newspaper. But there was nothing in between. Okay. Government did nothing. They ignored, and even they never mentioned. They took no action. And then following that, people, activists in the region, in every city basically, even smaller city, they organized demonstrations, and there was massive demonstration.
Mm-hmm. So that was my actual next question. What happened on May 22nd?
On May 22nd, there were millions of people came out. There are pictures of all the demonstrations, and there were videotapes. There were millions of people came out very peacefully. It was a very, despite of you could see millions marching, but there were there were very little incidents. But and most of the slogans were about language rights and Azerbaijani rights, and and still, as I mentioned, there was no mention of like request for arrest of the journalists or anyone, but most of the slogans were about their rights. It was an opportunity for them to show the government that they are very upset over this humiliating cartoon, and also to show to have an opportunity to express their frustration with not having schools in their language and being discriminated all the time.